Hi, thanks for gardening with me. I'm Melissa, and today I'm going to be starting a new video series on fall maintenance. There's always some confusion on what things you should pull, what things you should cut back, and this time of year there's just always a lot of work to do to prepare your yard for winter. So follow along with me and I will show you what I do in my yard. So today in my yard, this is the first time I'm able to be in the yard working since my surgery. So this has been 6 weeks of nothing being done outside in the gardens, and combine that with fall. So we have some mature trees, there's leaves everywhere. I have a lot of work to do, and with me being 6 weeks post-op, there's a lot of things that I might be able to do, but there's a lot of things that I probably can't do. So I'm going to take it one flower bed at a time. I'm not going to come out here and try to do everything that needs to be done because it's just too overwhelming. So I'm going to start in this bed right here, and I have some ferns that need cut back. I have caladiums that I need to dig up and store for the winter so that I can have them again next year and not have to pay for them. And there's just a few leaves and things like that that need done. So I'm going to take you along with me and show you what I do, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions. So I'm going to start off right outside my front door and show you some of the work that I need to do. I would like to start with the front of the house first, since that's what everyone sees, and it does need so much work. So we have these huge mature trees that, I mean, they're just huge. I absolutely love them. But come fall, I end up with tons of leaves everywhere and in the flower beds. So what I'm going to do to start with is I'll show you this bed over here. And this one really doesn't need a whole lot of work right now. It doesn't look too bad. I had a little barricade set up there because my dogs kept getting into my ferns and running around on them and trampling them. So that doesn't look so great. Next year I need to come up with something else. But I need to get rid of those. And then really the worst offender in this bed is the leaves. I just need to get up all the leaves. I have a lot of perennials in this bed. You can see the leaves are just, I mean, it just is what it is when you have big mature trees. But I do have these coleus here that, oh my goodness, they just performed their heads off this year. They look so good, but they do not like the cold. So I'm going to leave them out here until they don't look as great as they look right now. But the main thing I'm going to focus on in this bed is just cleanup of all of the leaves and bricks, not bricks, that leaves and the sticks that have fallen out of the tree. As far as leaves or dead things, I don't think there's too much in here. I do have some astilbe that has died back that definitely needs to be cut down to the ground. And I may go ahead and cut back the hosta, but they still look okay, so I'm probably going to leave them for a little bit. Anyway, that's that bed. Those are the two hydrangeas, this one and the one over here, that did not produce any flowers this year. So those are the two that I want to get out of here. I'm going to put them in the back of the property and put in some, I like the hydrangeas, but I'm going to put in something that gives me more color, that is something that blooms on new wood, so I don't have to live with the bare sticks into the late part of the year. This bed, however, and again, we've got all the leaves going on. A few of the evergreens that I put in this year, they're looking okay. This is a columbine. I need to cut that back to the ground. The peony, those need to be cut back to the ground. That hosta, and I think there's one more in here, need to be cut back to the ground. This Dusty Miller is an annual, but it still looks good, so I'm going to leave it there as long as it looks good. I have this ground cover here, and I can't remember what the name of it is. I will look it up and see if I can find that for you, but it is a ground cover, and it's doing a really great job of covering. You can't see through the leaves right now, but it is. I have all these coral bells here, echinacea, Euchera, sorry, not echinacea. And then over here, I have another ground cover that looked really great earlier in the year. This is the first year for those, so I'm not going to cut them back unless they just turn completely brown, and then I'll do that. This tree that I got for Mother's Day, I'm hoping next year it looks a lot better than it did this year. I think it will. But it's going to look pretty there when it gets mature. I'm confident in that. Have a lot more coleus in this bed as well. It's going to freeze tonight, so that might be what does it in. But until that happens, I'm just going to leave it right there. Leaves, leaves, and more leaves. This is a euonymus that I got this year, as well as my globe spruce that I absolutely love. And those will be nice winter interest. And then I have a few more evergreens over here. Lots of sedum under here that needs to be taken back from all the leaves covering it, and that usually stays green for quite a long time. So there's that. There's the other hosta I was telling you about that needs to be cut all the way down. It did not like that cold weather at all. And then I have some petunias in here that I will take out. I had cut down a ornamental pear tree a couple years ago, and I am still getting regrowth from those. So I have to keep cutting those back and cutting them back. And eventually, hopefully, they'll just go away. And everything else there stays. That's an evergreen that'll stay. And this is the bed that I'm going to be working in today. As I said, I had a total knee replacement 6 weeks ago. So I'm 6 weeks post-op. I can't be doing a lot of stuff, but I figure if I can get into this one flower bed and make this look good, that it'll make me feel good. What I need to do is get all the leaves out. There's a coleus there that I'll probably just go ahead and pull. I have caladiums in here that do not like the cold at all, so they have shriveled up. And then there's a red one in here as well that has shriveled up. So I'm going to dig those two up today and show you how I do that and store them for the winter. That coleus still looks okay. Then I have all these ferns that need to be cut back, and the hostas still look okay. There's that same hosta down there that's over in the other bed. That needs to be cut back. And then that corbel still looks really good. So I think other than just getting rid of a lot of leaves and cutting back some dead, this will look good. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so to start out with, I'm going to use my little rake because I have a lot of delicate stuff in here that I don't want to damage. I have my shovel to dig up my caladiums, and my cutters to cut away any of the plants that I don't want. And I normally just load everything up into the quad and take it back to the fire pit. But now I think I'm just going to load it up into the trash and let Tony do that. As you can see, when you use something that's a little more delicate like this, you can get into the tight places. So many leaves. Now this vine that I have in here, I first got it in a plant a long time ago, and I just plant it in the ground. And then every year I dig a little bit of it up and put it in my planters just as a filler, and well, it spills over the edge. But if you let it go, it will climb up underneath your siding and do a lot of damage. So you definitely have to keep them cut back. I apologize that we have a lawnmower going in the background. Never fails whenever I start recording. But I wanted to get a close-up of this caladium and show you what it is. It's really a beautiful plant to have. In the whole season, it just really brought light to this area. So I definitely want to have that there again. I did have the red one in there as well. And the red one was kind of wah-wah. But I do want to dig that up, and I will probably put it someplace else in the yard. So what you want to do when you're going to dig these up is you want to make sure that you find the entire plant. So pull away, oops, see, that one just came up right by itself. So pull away any of your mulch. That way you can see right where the plant is. See, this one started to create a whole nother root, and I think these are called corms instead of roots. So I will make sure on that and let you know. But so see how I have everything pulled away? And I could probably just about by hand get in there, but I want to make sure that I get all the way underneath it. So I'm going to go ahead and use my shovel and get far away from it and just pop it up. See how easy that is? So many people are intimidated about digging up things that they can have for next year, but it's really simple to do. So as you can see, that is what I am left with. Now, I bought one plant in the spring, and now I have two, actually three. So what I'll do is I'll clean them all up, get all the dirt off of them, lay them in the sun to dry for an entire day, and then after that, if you can see that, then after that what I will do is put them in a paper bag, like a lunch sack, and with the name of it on it, and I will put it in the basement and store it for the winter. And then in the summer, they don't really like to go into the ground until like July, maybe June, but they don't want any cold weather at all. So June probably is when I'll plant them outside next year. Sit here, hopefully I'll be able to get back up. We shall see. This is my little rabbit that's made of concrete, and if you have outdoor items that are made of concrete, you can leave them out all winter, but if it is made of terracotta, then you definitely want to make sure that you get it in for the winter. It's crazy too, because these coral bells, they look good. I want to say up until halfway through the winter. They just must not be bothered at all by the cold. And then they'll die back. You can see, I mean, it still has a bunch of new growth in it. It's so pretty. Garden And the reason why I don't get a lot of weeds in this garden is because I plant it so thick that the weeds don't have an opportunity to germinate. So here's the finished product for today. Is it absolutely perfect? No. And the reason why I didn't stress myself out to make sure that it's absolutely perfect is because we still have tons of leaves left to fall. So after everything is finished falling for the year, then I'll make sure everything is super tidy. But I did want to make sure that I didn't have any weeds in the garden, which I did find one. And just wanted to make sure that everything was cut back and prepared as much as I could. So thank you for gardening with me. I did get the one flower bed cleaned out mostly. The big thing was I got the caladiums out of the ground because we are going to get a frost tonight. I cut back any of the perennials that were dead and didn't look good, and I'm really happy with how it looks, especially since I didn't think I'd be able to do any of this year. So super happy that I'm able to do that, get out in the garden. It really just makes me feel good in my soul to be able to get outside, get some fresh air, get a little exercise. It feels really good. So now on to PT, and I'm going to go spend some time with the grandkids. Thank you so much for gardening with me. God bless, and have a great week.